Well, we're just a few games into the season and already it's wild out there. New season, same old drama, but for Caitlin Clark, the Bullies are back. However, this time she's not alone. So far, some of the biggest names in the NBA are speaking out, and they're not holding back, I can tell you. So, join me as I walk you through why NBA players are stepping in to defend Caitlin Clark and how she's fighting back.
So, that's a flagrant foul.
That's not a flagrant foul.
Okay.
Caitlin Clark, the easy target. If there was one thing that Caitlin Clark wasn't having in her sophomore year, it was most definitely being the easy target for other WNBA players.
Every time you play rookies, you just want to fucking kill them.
And that was my advice.
Like,
I was
seriously. And it's not necessarily like
because it's so easy.
I mean, it's one thing to have the rookie experience, but having 17% of all the flagrant fouls of the 2024 WNBA season committed on Caitlin changes something even in the calmest basketball player. She was getting bullied both on and off the court during her legendary season, and both were equally as bad. Now on the court, she was getting fouled like this.
And Clark. I mean, that's clear, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter.
Like this.
Here's Clark for 29 points, gets tripped up. I want to welcome in our Ion audience who are watching Minnesota and Dallas. Indiana Fever in the Chicago Sky here from Wintrust Arena. The Fever have really stretched out this one.
And like this. This particular foul wasn't even called.
Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44-2.
Well, in the words of NFL legend Shannon Sharp, if unnecessary roughness happened to one player 17% of the time, that's not an anomaly. That's not an outlier. So coming into the league, the Indiana Fever guard had many doubters, right? From legends to veterans to the media. However, she has done nothing but silence them all. But unfortunately for her, some of these doubters turned into haters. Caitlin's whole rookie season was filled with cheap shots from almost everybody. Players like six-time All-Stars Skylar Diggins-Smith tried to get under her skin after the Fever beat the Storm. Connecticut Sun guard DeJonin Carrington taunted her and poked the 22-year-old rookie.
From Carrington with no whistle.
DeJonin Carrington didn't just stop there, she also went online to blame Caitlin for what her fans were doing, saying her silence is a luxury. Throughout her rookie year, Caitlin has made the face of things beyond her, even when she was quiet and went about her way. In short, she was bullied. Well, it's a new season, and this young guard has been giving it just as she was taking it. She's actually out there telling guys that she is not scared of them. Caitlin Clark isn't taking it anymore. If Caitlin was anything to all of her bullies, she was definitely gracious. And from the WNBA players that hacked her to WNBA legends like Cheryl Swoops, Lynette Woodard, Brianna Stewart and Diana Taurasi, who have all antagonized her, Caitlin has been nothing but gracious. Well, a new season, and it seems all of that is gone now. She set the tone in the first game of her sophomore year.
Rebecca Allen, too strong on a three. And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin fouled Angel Reese hard on a layup attempt, and in her defense, she did it because she was frustrated, because Angel shoved her teammate Natasha and didn't get called for it.
A foul that Angel took exception to. So initially, Angel pushes Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark points out the no call, then she applies a hard foul on Reese. Reese gets up right away.
Now, Angel, who bullied Caitlin in their rookie season, wasn't expecting this, I can tell you. Angel Reese thought it was the usual gracious Caitlin, but she couldn't be more wrong. The foul was called a flagrant foul, and Caitlin stood on business, saying there was nothing malicious about it and that every basketball player knows that.
Walk me through your perspective on the flagrant foul, and what was the point you were trying to make to her?
It's just a good take foul, you know. If either Angel gets wide open 2 points, or we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a good take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
The usual Caitlin might have been apologetic, but not this one. And you should know that it wasn't just the Angel Reese incident that has proven that Caitlin is now giving it back just as she's taking it. The Fever game against the Atlanta Dream saw Ryan Howard chirping hard and trying to provoke Caitlin during their game against the Fever. Well, she wasn't backing down. Even during half-time when Ryan was still going on about it, Caitlin, she couldn't be bothered. This is a new and unbothered Caitlin Clark. She's not here to play the bigger person anymore, and even NBA legends and players are starting to notice. I mean, NBA Hall of Famer duo Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce couldn't have said it any better. She just doesn't care about being the biggest person anymore.
I like watching the girls play, bro. It's intense. Caitlin Clark is off that shit now. She let it all slide the first year. They were pushing her and all that. She like, you know what?
I'm in here.
I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm here, and this is what it's gonna be this year. And she set the tone. I like that.
NBA players defend Caitlin. KG and Paul Pierce surprisingly haven't been the only NBA legends and players noticing this change in Caitlin Clark and defending her. Former NBA player Keon Dooling called it what it is when he said,
I think she got 17% of all flagrant fouls were against her last year in the WNBA.
That's a crazy stat.
But for every action, there's a reaction.
For every action, there is most definitely a reaction. And Caitlin Bullies should be ready to get all the reactions for their actions. NBA superstars like Paul George also defended Caitlin from her bullies, stating that the WNBA have Caitlin Clark to thank for growing the league, and that's because they had been grinding hard for years to grow the sport, but the Caitlin effect took it to another level.
They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewership. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that. And there's going to be girls that think she's got to earn it and she doesn't deserve this early. She's handled it great. I think she's performed last year. She's performing again this year. I think she's the rightful face of.
Paul George praised Caitlin for not just letting her game do the talking, but also finally talking back to her bullies.
Only is her game talking, but she's out there talking like she's backing it up.
I love Caitlin Clark personality, man.
I love her too, man. I think she's great for the game of basketball in general, bro.
Now, not everyone's happy about Caitlin clapping back. After the Caitlin and Angel incident happened, the Indiana Fever Guard's usual critic, Cheryl Swoops, labelled Caitlin a bully. However, former NBA stars like Kenyon Martin, Gilbert Arenas, and Nick Young, who were present, were having none of that. After criticising Caitlin for the foul, Cheryl Swoops doubled down on her criticism of Caitlin Clark when she faulted her for not standing on business after fouling Angel.
My thing with that was, like, stand in it.
Stand on business.
Right? Like, don't walk away. My other issue was, I also have always been taught when I played, go grab your own teammate, don't come grab my team.
Unfortunately for Cheryl, Kenyon Martin, Gilbert Arenas, and Nick Young were all former professional basketball players and could tell a hard foul from a flop, because if there was a hard foul on that incident, then it had to be when Angel Reese shoved Natasha.
On both sides of it, there ain't no damn flagrant foul, man.
That's not a flagrant? Hard foul?
Damn flagrant foul.
Angel's push was a lot harder.
Yeah, well, it was.
Man.
Not the initial part, but Caitlin later on pushed her. It was.
I'm talking about the push before to get the Angels push on
they've called.
They just trying to get control of the game. That's not.
No, they weren't. No,
it's not
they weren't trying. Listen, they've called softer flagrant fouls in the NBA.
I said it's all soft.
So that's a flagrant foul.
That's not a flagrant foul.
Okay.
Nah.
Gilbert Arena and Nick Young even called Angel a flopper, saying her reaction was too much.
I was like, no, it wasn't.
You don't think it's more of a flop?
So all the different angles. I didn't think it was a flop.
Hey, I feel like Angel. I love going.
Huh?
You're strong as shit. I seen the Thomas push.
Look at all that. Come on.
Yeah, that's sick.
You seen the what?
That Thomas body slam, and I'm like, okay, that was a real foul.
Oh, for sure.
And you feel like Kayla should have stood on business there?
It's just foul. Yeah.
Stood on what business?
Come on.
So you didn't see Caitlin push?
So she ain't trying to fight. So
somebody that's strong. Somebody
wobble
up. Know what I mean? Somebody that's solid.
And when Cheryl tried to say that if roles were reversed, it'd be a bigger deal, well, they still weren't having it.
My thing is, had Angel or anyone else done the exact same type of a foul to Caitlin, the storyline's different.
Newsflash! Cheryl didn't need to paint some imaginary picture because it all happened last season. And back then, Caitlin Clark was just told to toughen up. For what it's worth, both Kenyon and Gilbert stood on business.
If Gil fouls you like that, what's your reaction? No big deal?
No. They don't mean it.
Okay.
That means every foul we done fouled Shaquille O'Neal.
I know who he is.
Jeff Teague was also Team Caitlin, and he called Angel Reese out for flopping in that incident.
That's not a bad foul.
But
look at the bench.
A lot of people didn't see like the play before that.
I'm gonna keep it gangster with her. She flopped.
Yeah, and she pushed the girl first.
Yeah,
that's what people not seeing that. I don't like that shit. Niggas weren't watching the game, so.
Bro, it's basketball. There are flagrant fouls. There are all types of stuff that happens in basketball. Stop being weird.
I know I like Angel Reese, but that's a flop. Like, she just reached down and hit the ball. She ain't push you afterward. She can't.
The former NBA All-Star confessed that Angel Reese was doing too much after the foul.
Yeah. And I'm okay with you reacting like that. Be on that. That's cool.
Now, if she would have swung up at your throat and shit like that, then you could have tweeted.
Yeah, she went. But I hate when people do the extra. Like, relax, y'all.
Ain't nobody about to fight basketball.
And y'all know Caitlin Clark not finna fight, bro.
No way.
She walked right by.
She
really was about to help her up at first.
Shit.
Yeah, that's basketball, but look, bro, she's not trying to fight, bro. She's out there to hoop. She really is about to help.
If former NBA stars who played the game at the highest level think you are doing too much, then you know what? Maybe you are doing too much. Even Skip Bayless, yes, Skip, shares the same opinion. The sports analyst even went as far as to warn Caitlin's bullies because the young guard actually moves the needle. No one else does it like she does, and they better get in line.
You'd better believe that all of the established stars in this WNBA, as well as lots of veteran starters on every other team, constantly, quietly, privately complain to their coaches and to their team executives about Caitlin Clark getting way too much attention and way too much credit for the exploding TV ratings. The attitude I sense from so many other older WNBA players seems to be, what do we, chopped liver? It's not just her driving these ratings. What have we been doing all these years? Sorry, ladies, but compared to her drawing power, you are chopped liver. You're just going to have to accept that she, and she alone, is driving the ratings way above what all of you together were able to generate before she first set foot on a WNBA stage.
Well, this many people standing up for Caitlin Clark in her sophomore year and commending her for finally standing up to her bullies is commendable. The era of just taking it and smiling while doing it is over, and even basketball fans had to agree, according to a fan's comment. Caitlin's confidence is growing and she's only getting better now. Another fan commented, the league better watch out. This is no longer the old and nice Caitlin Clark. If you enjoyed this video, the next video on your screen is worth your time for sure. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.